All right, welcome back to NFL Kings. Thanks for joining us today. And we got a great one for you today. We're going to be going over a bunch of stuff, but mostly just going to be covering our next draft. Now, this one is, in fact, a normal PPR, normal flex. This one actually has two flex, but two running backs. Actually, just go over the scoring settings right here. So it's going to be, this one's just a normal two running back, two wide receiver, two flexes, and it is a PPR. Standard PPR with a 6-point passing touchdown. So obviously quarterbacks are still highly valuable. So this is going to be a situation where, right, we're maybe only have 30 minutes, right? And so that's what we're kind of simulating here. Pretty much the standard player, right? What do you do? How do we still have a successful draft? Okay, and obviously I recommend heading over to PFF, right, and at least take a look at their draft rankings. There's obviously a bunch of other, awesome little tidbits they have, like how to draft perfect and draft guides and all this stuff. So a lot of it kind of costs money. This is actually kind of interesting. Huge download, by the way. So it just kind of depends, obviously, on what you're looking for. So for this particular thing, looking for a PPR. So wanted to change that. We did just do a very interesting one. This one's a little bit different. It's not like the standard PPR. But they're not going to have anything absolutely perfect, right? But this is pretty well standard, and obviously three wide receivers. It does change things up a little bit, but in a PPR, honestly, you want to have a little bit more wide receivers anyway. So, it definitely makes a lot of sense, right? And oops, sorry about that, guys. Can't show you that information. So after kind of looking at it, you really start to see like the breakdowns and just like the overall like schedule, like how they kind of have it set up, right? And we're picking at pick 11, so that's very important. What players we're looking at, right? Very similar to a player I was looking at in a previous draft. So right now it's really going to be more about figuring out how to kind of organize this. Obviously, we're going to be at pick 11 here. So yeah, you want to hop in as soon as you can. Obviously, 30 minutes. Hop in right away. That way you can find out what your overall draft position is. That just really allows you to have an actual draft strategy. It's really difficult to have a proper draft strategy until you really know your draft position. In all honesty, it's very difficult. You can obviously do practice drafts, and I would recommend, one at the top, one in the middle, and then one at the end somewhere. If you are looking to, at least be prepared as much as you can in the practice draft range, just to understand, kind of where guys are going to be falling and what to kind of expect. Me personally, I am this draft, I do tend to stay away from a little bit more injury risk prone guys, especially early on. I definitely recommend that. It is highly recommended. It's just not, all that. It's just safer, I would say. You don't want to lose your draft in the first and second round because you took a high risk, high reward guy when there were just some safer, overall solid options, right? And so you want to have as good a experience as possible, or success as possible, but at the same time, it's really all about, creating the right kind of team that you're kind of looking for, right? But you want to have really nice, consistent production across the board, week to week, right? These boom bust players that get like 30 points here and then 5 the next week, they just absolutely kill your team because maybe you didn't even start him on that week that he had 30, and then you started him on the very next week and he puts up 5, right? Very difficult to start, very difficult to manage those types of players. And so you ideally, and especially in season long, you're looking for consistent production, guys who are going to get consistent targets, consistent carries, maybe a higher end offense, quarterbacks, higher volume throwing, all these types of things that you all have to kind of really think about. Looks like I put us into that mock draft right there. And you can kind of see it should be very similar to the actual draft that we're going to be doing. And looking at pick 11 or 12, right, that's where we're at, pick 11. The players that are generally going in that range looks like are Devontae, Clyde Edwards. People are reaching like crazy on him. Patrick, I'll be honest, if Patrick Mahomes is on the board for us, folks, we are going to draft him. And I would even consider Lamar Jackson as well. Both these guys definitely in the consideration, and I believe I would do it more likely on the front end. And the reason you'd say that is because if you do it on the back end, you're less likely to get him, because a player that has 2 picks at the back end is very likely to take one of those 2 quarterbacks. I think that's honestly would be one of my draft strategies if I was pick 12, would be quarterback, running back, but I think it just depends. And I don't know if you did see the other videos, you did see probably that. And so this is very important as far as like kind of remembering kind of how other drafts have gone, how other mocks have gone, and kind of where guys are falling, where you think, you might be able to sneak a tight end, sneak a quarterback, where a guy might be able to fall a little bit farther, things like that. So those are the things that you want to kind of look at and see, so okay, yeah, you know what, I could probably wait around on this guy, but not on this guy, right? And so that's where we have to kind of, that's the playing game, especially when it comes to like so let's say I'm picking back and almost back here, right? So as a strategy in making sure you're not picking with this guy, so you get the 2 players you want, also in making sure that if you notice, you have a very, very long time till you pick again. And that makes it extremely difficult to know who's going to, like, basically all the guys you were thinking about taking, just assume that they're going to be off the board for the following pick, right? So you basically are deciding between those players and just know that you're probably not going to get those players, okay? So that's very important. Understanding, and if you notice, this is very similar to how I would expect this draft to go. If I was for our PPR for our draft, I think this is very similar to how ours is going to go. Mahomes taken there, I don't mind it. I actually that makes a lot of sense actually after Michael Thomas, just because of the running backs. If you notice right here, obviously you're staring at a potential in like a Devontae Adams or a Clyde Edwards or Tyreek Hill. It's like I don't really like those. Joe Mixon, I do like him. Obviously it's more about some other stuff. But obviously the pick that I would make is Nick Chubb and a Lamar Jackson. I think those are the 2 plays to make, and a Josh Jacobs as well. I honestly, if it was me, I think the smart play is to go with a Lamar Jackson. And if I do want to go with a quarterback, wide receiver quarterback running back combination, but I think running back might be more beneficial for this draft prep. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a Nick Chubb here, and then we're going to do a Josh Jacobs or an Aaron Jones. And these are the guys I've been targeting. These are on my target list, and I'm not going to show you all my target lists. I don't want to reveal all that information on this video. We may go into a deep dive video, and I can kind of show you everybody how I kind of came about that list, and really just allowing myself to kind of have just kind of a base to kind of look at and kind of know what you're looking at and stuff. Let's be honest, folks. Lamar Jackson's gonna have a fucking ridiculous season. This guy is ridiculous. Okay, this guy is unbelievable. Okay, but at the same time, we're working on a draft strategy, so we have to go with the 2 running backs because I'm trying to test out the strategy and I want to see how it flows. And if I would have gone quarterback, kind of what that would do. Okay, and so that because those are two very different strategies. And we got about 16 minutes or so to kind of figure that out. It'll be a while before this mock draft comes around. And then, as probably covered in the previous video, if you didn't watch, you want to be looking for your next round of targets, right? So you're talking about 20 picks later, somewhere in the 30, where's our pick? 35, right? 35 pick range is going to be right around here. Okay, so especially for these early picks, these ADPs are actually pretty well accurate, and you're talking about, these are all really good players still, right? So I don't say you can't go wrong, but there's definitely more value in some than others, I feel like, and getting more out of them. And I am targeting some certain players, although I don't know why these two are rated together. He is significantly better. I'm not really sure what they're looking at overall. I like the projections are kind of interesting. Right, so we went running back, right? This is a 12-team league. Quarterback is not as valuable as, unless obviously you're getting a Lamar Jackson. Like, obviously, if he was on the board, there'd be no question. That would be an easy decision. If you are going to go quarterback, you could, go in this range of a Russell Wilson or Dak Prescott. I just wouldn't recommend it in this range. And the reason I say that is because what you're missing out on, it's just not recommended. So I would actually pass on both these players just because of where their ADP is and just in comparison to the players that you're going to have to pass on and you're going to miss out on. So that's why I would lean more toward your running backs and wide receivers early, unless you're getting a Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, who's, just a step above those other guys. Right? I mean, those guys are just absolutely elite players. And you start to see some of these kind of players falling, and this actually seems pretty well normal, I would say. Kittle going here is a little bit early, but that is a strategy, if you want to go with the tight end over the quarterback. I mean, he probably was originally going to go with maybe a quarterback, but maybe not a Lamar Jackson. Maybe that's what he's thinking. I'm not really sure. Because Lamar, I don't know what anybody else is thinking, but Lamar is going to have an absolutely ridiculous season as long as he stays healthy. This is a spot where I could potentially take a receiver. That is definitely an option. I would lean toward running back first, just in the hope that you are able to get somebody. This is insanity. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're looking at. Not really sure. Yeah, he has a chance to run away. A chance. And you're taking him with a third or fourth round pick. Are you crazy over somebody you know is going to produce? Or somebody, I'm sorry. This is definitely the player I'm looking at here. I'm not really sure what they're looking at. They're like, oh, you like Clinton? Yeah, no, dude, he's like the Thunder is Fire Man. So looking at who is taken, and really starting to see who's on the board. We did go running back, right? Mind you. So I do not need to go running back here. And after noticing, if you see, look at the running backs that are staring you at the board, right? I mean, it would have been a Mark Ingram. So, let's say I went with quarterback. Let's say I went with, Lamar Jackson, for instance. If you go with a Lamar Jackson and a running back, then you're very limited in this next round by the second running back. There's some guys with some higher upsides and stuff, like a Gurley, Thielen. Let's see. So you got, you're kind of at a point where you almost need to go wide receiver. You could go quarterback here instead. Got a Cup and McLaurin. They should go after Deshaun. And you're just noticing It's really very, very tricky drafting an 11 in a 12-team league, to get the depth that you ideally want, right? So like here, like let's say I would go with, gosh, I honestly wouldn't, this would be a very difficult spot for me. Like I'd lean toward either an AJ Brown, for instance. Like let's just take AJ Brown for now, and like a Cooper Cup combination or a Cup McLaurin combination. But definitely a downgrade from my other team, and just like the overall team look. It's very, very interesting. The spot that you're kind of looking at. I almost have to hope a wide receiver falls. One of the elites kind of fall to me. Is really the only kind of avenue there. Makes that kind of difficult. Getting a little bit toasty in here, folks. Gonna be tough to keep doing this. And so I may pop in and out in between picks, just because, and we'll probably do some cuts on this stream. Unfortunately, it is significantly hotter in here than it was for the first round of streams, and it's like 95 degrees outside. So unfortunately, not having a fan on will do that in this room with my awesome computer is also producing a lot of heat with that 3900 XT I got in there. Thing is a beast, but between that and my graphics card, they produce a lot of heat, unfortunately. So kind of seeing how they're falling and really breaking that down. It's gonna be tough for us in this 11 spot to get, the player that I ideally want to get, which are up here, like Kenny Galladay, and ODB, a Lamar, a Chris Godwin, Aaron Jones, DeAndre, Julio, Tyreek. Those are, the true elite guys. A guy like an AJ Brown, he's got some question. He's got a lingering issue potentially as well. It auto drafted me. Russell wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention. It's not a big deal. I don't really care. So yeah, it would have been Cooper Cup here, right? And then just understanding that Amari Cooper's dealing with something as well, and I detest him. I do like Terry McLaurin though. That might be who we're gonna have to target. I don't want to have him as my number one receiver though. Like that is brutal. Like if I can get Thielen here, maybe that's the play. So after really seeing it, guys, I mean, there was some running backs here available, like a Mark Ingram and a Gurley, Mostert, Cam Akers here. Like, some difficulties, guys. Difficulties. Man, people are really, really high on Akers, though. Higher than I was hoping. He was one of my targets, but not with where they're drafting him. I mean, there's just too many known commodities on the board when he's being drafted. And I love doing that kind of stuff. I used to do it all the time, but I've come to find it actually does not pay off. More often than not, it does not pay off. And it has paid off for me a few times in the past. I mean, I've drafted AJ Green his rookie year. That was probably my best ever rookie production from any rookie ever, honestly. Because, there's been more, productive rookies, but not with the value of where I drafted him at. And that's really the key, guys. It's not just about getting that player. It's about getting the value out of that player. So if you're drafting him and he's like the 25th best wide receiver at the end of the year, well, that's where you need to be drafting him, and that's where the equate equivalent value is. And he's an interesting one, right? You got a Darren Waller here, um, who that's going to be an interesting one to draft because he had such a great year. I mean, look at that. But only 3 receiving touchdowns, and that's a big deal, folks, especially for a tight end who that's the position that you usually score touchdowns. So that's a big red flag. Why are you getting only 3? Well, it's because most of his passes that he's getting thrown to are very, very short. Very, very short. He's not an explosive guy down the field. And same with Derek Carr. Like, he doesn't throw the ball down the field. Like, he's just bad, man. Like, honestly, like, I don't like him that much. Like, I really don't. I don't think he's that good, personally. So like looking at the quarterback position and just kind of seeing the depth there. I mean, I'm in round 6, and look who's on the board still. Some really quality options are not that much worse. So we're gonna have to pass on Lamar Jackson, and we're gonna pass on. Yeah. So being able to see, that's a big deal. I feel like for the overall. Just be able to see kind of how things are going, and really for me it's more about the early on, because once you get down toward the later picks, these are all just targets at this point. Once you get down to like here, these guys should just be looking for the guys that you're targeting in certain rounds, and trying to fill out your roster, to get the best depth you possibly can out of your roster, right? I mean, that's really more or less how it's supposed to go, right? And kind of where we're at. Okay, so we're looking at number 11. We got, right, if we went wide receiver, that'd be tough. No, I feel like the pick is the way we went, right? This is what we want. We want a Chubb, Jacobs, or Aaron Jones combo. Those 3. Eckler would be good, but he has some question marks in the red zone. Not like these 3 are studs. These 3 are studs. I mean, I would honestly put them like here, here, and here. That's where I think they should be drafted. Is like here and here, and I'd move all these guys down to about here. Here, and I'd move Julio ahead of a couple of those. Like a Tyreek Hill. Like, no offense to Tyreek Hill, but he has a tendency to not stay healthy throughout a season, and especially in a season like this, I think he's going to be maybe playing like 9 games. I think is probably the cap on him, is probably like 10 games. And he's don't get me wrong, like he's probably the ultimate injury risk, and but I mean, even in a down year, he had almost 1,400 yards and 6 touchdowns, and like didn't even get a touchdown early on in the season, really. So that's kind of where it's at.
Oh, draft prep, man. You're picking at pick 11. So, what do you think he's saying?
I can probably guess what he's saying. Oh, actually, I think they show you like who this guy recommends. Well, who do you think this guy recommends? All I know, I wouldn't listen to him. Wouldn't recommend. I apologize, but I would not. Devontae Adams. Yeah, see there, and this is the reason why you would definitely not want to listen to this idiot. And that's, they're trying. They're trying their best, but that's probably about as bad as suggestions as I've seen for pick 11. Clearly, he doesn't understand the depth of wide receiver, depth of quarterback, in a 12-team PPR. Like, the wide receiver positions are going to go fast, yes, but there's only, after him, that's it. All the running backs are all massive questions. So these are the only guys you can feel secure about when you're going into the draft day, right? And then when you get later, there's still guys you can absolutely feel good about at the wide receiver position. And I think he's actually underrated. I'm a little bit surprised he's not, All right. All right. So that's where we're going. I mean, don't get me wrong. Mahomes, that's fine. That'd be an okay pick. I would have no issues with that pick. I do have an issue with taking Devontae Adams there. I've come to find pretty much every team I've ever drafted with a receiver in the first round has been trash can. I'm not even kidding, folks. It's literally been a trash can team. It's been and usually it's just so hard. I think the best one I had was like a Michael Thomas team last year, was pretty decent. Um, and that's probably about it. He'd be the only one I would consider, and he has to have like a year like he had last year to make that worth it for sure. Here's the thing, folks. He's probably gonna have a year like he had last year. That dude is ridiculous, right? All right, so we're getting ready for the draft. We know our targets. We know who we're looking at least for our first pick. We're guaranteed at least one of those guys for our first pick. No matter what, we're going to be able to get at least one of those guys. And that's a good feeling, right? Joe Mixon is a definite option here, folks. Joe Mixon, Kenyon Drake, if you are going running back, obviously. You know what? And there are wide receivers here, don't get me wrong, that are absolutely worth the pick in that spot. The issue is not with the pick or the player. The issue is with the future pick, i.e., what's available to you at that later pick spot, folks. That is the most important thing about your current pick, is what is available with your next pick. If you don't think about that next pick, you're probably going to be in a lot of trouble, all right? And so unfortunately, down here, we'd be stuck with a Mark Ingram. And I like Le'Veon Bell. He might have a bounce back season. He might. I expect him to have a pretty decent year. You can't tell me he doesn't have major risk. With Mostert and Fournette, who's not even barely been with the team for like a couple days. David Johnson, never been with the team and didn't look very good last year. And that's the question mark. Do you go with the elite receiver like a Chris Godwin, a Kenny Galladay, as your second pick, right? To pair with, and just kind of seeing how it's fallen, it's almost exactly how you expect it to fall, right? These are the 30 best players, and comes with a potential holdout risk. So I would probably take him fourth, and especially in a PPR, I could see him going a little bit farther. I wouldn't even be surprised if Cook goes ahead of Henry here. This is going to be a difficult one. I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Chubb actually is taken in front of me. I would actually be very surprised if he isn't taken in front of me. Very surprised, folks. Yeah, absolutely. This is should be a very good league. And then that was a little bit surprising taking a Michael Thomas, but I'm not shocked. This is a PPR, but you are only required to have 2 wide receivers. That's very important. So it's more about getting the best overall players, as long as you do have some stud receivers. And just kind of seeing how it's falling. It's pretty much exactly how you'd expect. This is the first time. These next 2 picks are, generally where you get some outliers. Yeah, like a Joe Mixon there. Guy doesn't. These people are scaring me by not going any wide receivers, considering this is a PPR. So PPRs generally they lean toward wide receivers. So it is a bit surprising that there's not more receivers being taken. Like a Devontae Adams there, or a Patrick Mahomes here. I think a Patrick Mahomes could be the pick here. And honestly, it's not a bad pick, even for me here. Like, if he's on the board, I have to consider him. What did he take? He just took Josh Jacobs. And because he took Josh Jacobs, I have to draft Nick Chubb. And I'll explain why. But if I want any chance at Aaron Jones, I have to draft him too. Yeah, I'm probably going Aaron Jones or Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Jones. Unless he somehow takes those 2 players. Like, this guy could be this G-est fucking dude. This guy could be the G dude. He could be a G dude. He could actually know that I want those two players and take both of them. I mean, it's definitely possible. They're probably the two best players on the board right now. So he did not. So I will get one of them. He took Devontae Adams. That was a very, very good pick for us. Because now we're going to get either Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Jones. You know, and that's a good feeling, right? I'm going to get the player I want. The question is going to be, well, what happens if both of them are on the board? Well, you know, it could go Patrick, but remember, there are a lot of quarterbacks. A lot of available quarterbacks. And putting two eggs into Mahomes' basket could be a little bit risky. Putting two eggs into that basket's a little risky, which is why I was hoping to get Josh Jacobs. Okay, this guy's an idiot. At least I know that. Alright, so we're going to get Aaron Jones. So now we got a good combination. I feel like when you start your draft and you got two good, solid running backs, you feel good going into it, right? You got to feel good going into that. And you got a pretty decent roster so far to start off. And yeah, I mean, I could have gone with like a Tyreek Hill, an Austin Eckler. Yeah, sure. Guess what? Now we're getting into the nitty gritty of some of these players. See, like they're scared because of the running backs. That's why when you see running back start to go like this, that's when you honestly going with a two running back combo is not a bad idea because you're getting them early, but they're still in value. Whereas now, like let's say next round, running back position is now devalued. There is no running back position, right? It's all been sucked up. All the good ones were sucked up. And so they were sucked up early, which causes value to be stripped late out of the running back position. So now you're staring at some tough stuff to be looking at, right? I mean, here we're looking at a Thielen. We're looking at an ODB. We're looking at... What's X-Ring got them at? Okay. Kittle. I mean, I don't know how Mahomes is still on the board. I'll be honest, folks. This late in the draft, like he should have been picked somewhere around here by now. Obviously, Mahomes and Jackson will both be taken. You took Kelsey over Mahomes. Really? In a 6-point quarterback league, folks. Not smart. And I like Kelsey a lot, but not smart. There's not much difference between Kelsey, Ertz. Are you freaking kidding me? Is this real? This is happening again? Oh, this is not good, folks. I may not be able to do this full stream. I may just do this in a split stream. We'll have to see. If it does keep doing it, I am going to be, unfortunately, having to deal with that. So we're going to go ahead and... I might have to close a bunch of things, folks. Let's see. Yeah, not really too sure what the freak is going on and why I keep having this issue. Alright, how's it looking? It's a little bit over to the left, it looks like. Okay. Let's try this again. How are we looking? There goes my homies. There's, some good picks there. Unfortunately, we're not being left with much, folks. I was gonna say, did he just get drafted? Yeah, I was gonna say he did, right? I love my boy Lama. Godwin will not be on the board. Galladay will not be on the board. I mean, they're literally getting picked like right as I'm like clicking them. Mike Evans will not be on the board. I feel like none of these guys will be on the board. Yeah, I mean DJ Moore. Is he falling down the list? Oh, yeah, I mean he's at 39. Guess that's right. Oh, God, I would be so depressed if I had to take AJ Brown. Because the risk with him is so freaking high. I mean, it's like through the roof. If you have to take him as your number one receiver, you're crying. You're scared. Oh, baby. Yep, and I mean you'll see it, guys. This is the problem with where we're picking. We just got unfortunately really unlucky having to pick 11. It's just not where you want to be picking in a 12-team league, folks. Unfortunately, it's just not. You'll notice like these guys, Wazo kid, that was the first pick in the draft. So like he got to get Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson, and Le'Veon Bell. And you got Barkley, Mahomes, and Godwin. Like, I'm sorry, but like those three players are just gonna be better than the players I'm gonna be able to get at pick 11. Like that's just not. It's just not fair, unfortunately. Unfortunately, every year is just different, and there's not much you can do about it. You know, unless people are just absolute morons and somehow let like an OD one of these three somehow fall to me. I just don't see that happening. I mean, obviously those two picks really helped. But you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 players that have to get drafted in front of me. I mean, those are literally the players I would draft in front of me. Those three right there. Maybe, you know, maybe somebody needs a running back. And there goes one of them right there. So I got 2 left and 4 picks. It's just very difficult to get a number 1 receiver, unfortunately. And the problem is Amari Cooper's not healthy. You know, otherwise people would probably have him higher. And that really helped us. That really, really helped us. Oh, we gotta hope for some luck, though, to get one of these guys to fall to us. And I like Juju. Don't get me wrong. But huge. He's not the dominant receiver. I'm sorry, folks. I like Chase Claypool over Juju Schuster. And look where Juju Schuster's getting drafted. And you know where I got Claypool? Last round of my last draft, and probably going to get him in the last round of this draft, too. Sorry, folks. He is just going to be the number 1 receiver on that team. That's big. That's what we needed. Because now I just need him to not take one of them. Okay. Now at least we get one. At least we get ODB or Adam Thielen. Okay. So I get Odell Beckham Jr. That's big, actually. Do we go with Amari Cooper here, folks? Do we go with DJ Moore? Do we go with AJ Brown? Or the safest pick, I think, of all of these guys is Cooper Kupp. Is going to be the safest pick out of all those guys. I'm honestly a little surprised he's not higher. I mean, let's be honest. This is, if you want to be smart, you draft Cooper Kupp here probably, right? You draft Russell Wilson. You draft Dak Prescott. Actually, you don't draft those guys because then you miss out on some top quality talent. But Like, who does he drafted? David Johnson. And don't get me wrong, like I could go with Mark Ingram here, folks. Be a decent pick. But I think we saw, being able to get a guy like Carry On late, a guy like Marlon Mack late, highly valuable, maybe a Leonard Fournette late. Yep, that's scary. You just drafted that guy. All right. So, folks, the safe pick is that one, but I'll just tell you where they want me to go is Juju. And Amari Cooper. Wow, they actually have Woods ahead of Cooper Kupp, which I don't understand, folks. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Did anybody actually watch Cooper play last year? They're expecting a downtick in production. Why? Did they gain targets or lose targets? Because last time I checked, they lost targets in Brandon Cooks. Yeah, folks. Cooper Kupp gonna have a pretty good year. Just tell you right now. Alrighty. And Mark Andrews. Have fun with that. Okay, guys. So now we've kind of seen. And if you'll notice, this team is very similar to the team I drafted in that other round, or in that other draft, and there's a reason for that. You're gonna lean toward a lot of the guys. So obviously, I could have gone, similar with that ODB pick, right? I could have gone with an AJ Brown. These four guys are gonna be basically kind of marked in that same kind of category, and Terry McLaurin as well, right? And so that's what's kind of the difficulty part that comes into it. It's figuring all that out. So this is where we're kind of looking now, right? We're next pick is at 59, right? So that's like right at where Sutton's ADP is, DJ Shark, DK Metcalf, Deshaun Watson obviously is the number one player on our board. If he's available in that round, that is obviously where we will be going. A DK, a Leonard Fournette depth piece. A Kyler Murray could be a potential option, although I wouldn't draft him that high. I think that's just a little bit too soon for him. Robert Woods, wow, would that be interesting to get a guy like that? But I'm thinking choo choo. So, just kind of seeing how it's fallen, and you're kind of noticing, like those guys are finally starting to go. A lot of, but you'll notice what we're looking for is less shared snaps, constantly trying to be on the field, right? And getting as much and as many targets as possible, right? And Cooper Kupp, ODB, both those guys are going to suck up targets like crazy. They're going to average probably 10 targets a game for majority of the season, okay? And that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for guys that are going to suck up targets, suck up carries, and be the feature or focal points of the offense. And that's essentially the four players that we've drafted. All four of them are the focal points of their offense, folks. And that includes both Nick Chubb and Odell Beckham being on the same team. They're both the focal points of their offense. They literally run their offense around those two players. And you got a Jarvis Landry filling in as well as your nice kind of feeder catch guy. So I do expect a nice solid year from all these guys. And you have to understand, guys, Stefanski comes from a scheme where they feature a number one receiver, folks. They do. Absolutely. It's in the play action pass game. That's what that fundamental offense is built around. It's very similar to the Sean McVay offense that they run, to the original West Coast offense that Joe Montana ran. Um, like I just don't understand. Like people just don't understand maybe like the playbook of a West Coast offense, I guess. But it's built around play action and the short to intermediate passing game. Like that's what it's built around. Usually you're gonna have a quarterback that doesn't have like the strongest arm running in that offense a lot of times because you don't need to. You don't need to be able to make like some gunslinger type plays. Reese Fountain? Seriously? Who's this slab god, dude? You're horrible. Wait, that was the guy who got Mahomes? Dude, what are you doing? Bro, Pittman's the number 2 there, bro. What? They waived him. LOL, slab god, you drafted a waived player, you donkey. 200. That must have been an accident. But why would you even have him on your board? Like, how do you draft him? That had to be a mistake. Like, I don't know what the heck happened there. That is a glitch or something. So you'll notice, like, these guys are still on the board. Some of them surprisingly still on the board, right? I mean, and the reason is because teams are scrambling to get their running backs. Scrambling. Oof. Are they scrambling, boy. Yeah. So this is the round where you fill out this roster, right? Do I go with a Darren Waller, though? That's the question, folks. Honestly, I didn't expect Russell Wilson to still be on the board. So, I mean, he's the obvious pick. Ugh. Question is, do I take Deshaun Watson? You know? Who do you think's better? Who do you think's gonna be better? Who do you think's gonna be better? Who do they think's gonna be better? 409. 403, they don't. They think they're going to be the exact same quarterback, which is what I kind of think too. They are very, 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 very good. Very good. Yes. Very good. Deshaun, only at 384. Really? To be able to get an elite quarterback will be very tough to pass on. Did they just take Sutton? No? Wait, what's going on here? Oh, there he is. Cortland Sutton. So this is going to be very difficult. I mean, I didn't expect that. Okay, it just literally, they just took all those players that I thought were going to still be there. That changes things. I was kind of thinking some of those would be there, so I was going to probably take one of those. Because they were not still supposed to be there. I'm sorry to say. Like, A.J. Brown, if I would have got him again to pair with, I'd be like, oh my god, A.J. Brown or Amari Cooper or Terry McLaurin, oh my gosh, that would have been phenomenal to get him in this round. But unfortunately, that did not happen. It's just a matter of, do I take DK or do I take Sutton? I feel like DK's upside is huge. Sutton's going to be the more consistent performer. Getting that help that he got, man, he's going to get some serious targets, man. I don't know. This is going to be tough. Tough. What's next? Him taking who he took definitely really made things a little difficult for us, folks. What just got drafted? DK. Okay. Well, that made that decision a lot easier, I suppose. Because staring at 3 quarterbacks, obviously, I can easily take a receiver here. Question is, do I go with Sutton over Anybody else? I feel like we have to, right? I mean, he was a top 10 receiver. Favored by PFF for a reason. You know, and there's definitely... Oops. I'm more curious as to what they look at. Let's see if they put somebody that I didn't notice. A T.Y. Hilton, actually, but no. So it is going to be a Sutton. And then it's just a matter of, do I take Russell Wilson, who's literally never missed a start, dude, over a guy who's missed many, and just got less weapons and Shamar. I mean, I feel like I would even go with Dak over. And as good as Waller is, wait, Tyler Boyd. I mean, at this point, is it a Russell Wilson pick? Is Zach Ertz? Dude, Zach Ertz at pick 62 could be good too. Like, there's still so many good quarterbacks on the board, but at the same time, you're talking about getting maybe the third best quarterback in the league right here. And I'd have to give up T.Y. Hilton. Alright, let's go with Russ. Yeah, I knew he was probably waiting for see if I was gonna go with. Oh, all right. I will be back in a few minutes. So they not take quarterbacks? Oh, there goes Kyler and Dak. Okay. I'm like, why are these quarterbacks getting taken? The tight end. And dang, Diggs. Yeah. I started the run on quarterbacks, though, folks. You can tell that. They were going to go right here. You had a feeling they were going to go right here, all the good ones. It's just I got to choose between which one I wanted, and some of these guys are kind of just forced in their choice. Russell, I mean, let's be honest, he has played every game. You know, he is a juggernaut like that. You know, he is poised for a big season. I think he's going to win MVP this year. Does have good weapons, and you know, the only thing is the offensive line. I think that's his biggest question mark. But Dak's got a downgraded offensive line this year. Deshaun, don't get me started about his offensive line. This is good. And Kyler's is one of the worst in football. And so you're noticing teams, like, I mean, look at this. They literally went all quarterback, and I started the run. Like, oh, crap. There's a million quarterbacks. Well, once I drafted one, they all went off the board. They literally all went off the board. So if I would have taken T.Y. Hilton, I would have missed out on all these quarterbacks. I would have been pretty pissed at myself. So instead, I got a really solid quarterback. I feel pretty good about my team so far, right? I'd like to fill that tight end spot. I'd like to fill another running back spot, another wide receiver spot. So we're probably looking, Landry. Matt Breida could be an interesting one, because I honestly think he is going to be the starter there in Miami, and He is definitely their best running back, that's for sure. Will Fuller. We're not making the mistake of checking Moss. Sorry, Vince Moss. I like him. Actually, I like him, but I don't. At the same time, like him, but I don't. I'd rather have Cook. I feel like. I feel like I'm gonna take Jared Cook here. I feel like he's the next pick that I want. Um, like he's probably gonna be where we're gonna go. Uh, just because otherwise we're gonna be looking at like guys like Hayden Hurst, and I don't get me wrong. I think Hunter Henry's more talented, but you can't tell me he has a better quarterback. He doesn't. All right, now we're gonna start seeing some interesting picks by people because we're getting to the point where the board just kind of goes out the window for a lot of people. They don't really kind of take into account a lot of things, and so a lot to think about. For me personally, especially because it gets a little confusing because you start to see a kicker at ADP 84.6, which makes absolutely no sense, right? That's the last pick of the draft, so I don't really know how you can kind of justify any of that. I'm looking at a Philip Lindsay, Marlon Mack. Will Fuller. Good pick. Good pick indeed. Good pick indeed. It's difficult. Very difficult. I'm just kind of seeing. I'm praying Jared Cook falls to us. Be a real nice coup d'etat. Cool for us. Especially if I could pair him with an AJ Green or a Jarvis Landry. Or an Edelman. Honestly, that's probably the pick. Yeah, so what we're going to probably do is go with Jared Cook and Julian Edelman. I think that's the ideal situation. And a Landry could be good too here as well. I think Landry's going to be off the board. My pick. Who just got taken? Are you kidding me? You really just drafted him? You freaking idiot. Oh, that's so annoying, dude. Ugh. I mean, that's literally where I was going to go. I mean, as long as I don't take Jared Cook, I'm fine. All right, let me look at the tight ends again, actually. Noah Fant. They're projecting 194 for Noah Fant. No offense to my esteemed colleagues, buddy, but he's not putting up those stats. So tricky. Sorry, I might get a little bit of background noise. I had to open my door. It's a little bit hot in here. I could probably wait on Jared Cook, honestly. Devontae Parker was still on the board? Really? AJ Green just got taken. I feel like we gotta go Travis Landry here. If I go with Jarvis Landry and Philip Lindsay, I feel like I'll be pretty happy with that combo. Alright, you give me Landry there, Lindsay. Like otherwise, like who's the best wide receivers available? Debo, Marvin Jones. You know, Marvin Jones has major injury history. And Judy, you know, Jarvis Landry, even on a bad season, had 1,206 touchdowns. Like, you're guaranteed decent production, and that's what you need out of especially a bench wide receiver. Like, that's literally what you want. And I would consider Marvin Jones here, but that's 4 receivers already, and I need a running back. Um, yeah, I gotta go running back. Running back. Philip Lindsay. Who's this guy? Let's see what you got. Okay, so I don't have to worry about him taking Philip Lindsay. He's either going to go. He's probably going to cut in right now. Wow, he went with Josh Allen over Rodgers and Wentz in there? Weird. Deontay Johnson. Guess you don't know about Chase Claypool because he's way better than Deontay Johnson. Okay. So, we are going with Philip Lindsay. Alright, that gives us a third running back and gives us some depth. Feel good. Feeling better. Some of the picks. Not too bad so far. Decent roster so far. You know, I just feel like he's probably still going to be there. And if he's not, I'm not worried about it because I'm probably going to go here. In all honesty, that's actually 100% where I'm going to go. Maybe go with 2 tight ends. So a lot to think about. And then after getting Lindsay, I mean, ideally, obviously, we want to get Mac or where are we at? I want to get Mac or where are you? Where are you? Don't see him. Don't know where he went. Did he get drafted? No. Carry on. Carry on. Johnson. So we're going to go with Carry On Johnson. And do we go with Jared Cook here? Zach Moss. About right. Oh. So I guess this was one I had to go with Jared Cook. That's too bad. I really didn't think he would be taken. But we really need to get a third running back. I mean, that was big. I mean, we had to get at least a third running back there. That was pretty important. So I just felt like that was the right decision. Ah, crap. Really did not think they would take him. But that's okay. We're going to go with Rob Gronkowski on our next pick. praying that he somehow makes it that far. I mean, he might. He might not. What other tight ends are available? I mean, obviously we still got my boy Noah. Noah should have a pretty good year. Hey, Greg Olson as a late rounder. Austin Hooper will have an okay year probably. Oh my god, you drafted Carry On? You mother son of a bitch. Okay, well that just really hurt us, folks. Now we're in trouble. Because that was going to be our way of getting 4 running backs. Crap. That's really going to hurt our roster. Shoot. Because really none of these guys are anywhere near the value of him. The hope was that like people were just being stupid. And it happened again. I mean, they're literally drafting depth at the running back. But I would have had to give up on Landry to take these guys. I mean, that stinks. Oh. Like, I can't believe they're actually intelligent in this league. It's annoying. They're picking decent players. He could be an interesting pick. That's a little handcuff, especially considering we don't really know what's going to happen with Kamara. I mean, he could theoretically still hold out. However, that is not looking good, folks. I mean, these guys are bad. I mean, they're not even on rosters. And I mean, you could say Ronald Jones maybe, but he's basically a trash can in comparison. He's only valuable if you have Cook as a handcuff. Unfortunately, yeah, like that was it. Like he was the last potential draftable player. I mean, that is really, really, really disheartening, folks. That really hurt us. Because now I honestly don't know what to do at that position. I needed to get 4, and he was going to be the 4th. Ah, oh, that's very disappointing. I mean, there's literally nothing. I mean, we could go with A.J. Dillon just in case Aaron Jones gets hurt. But that's essentially soaking up a roster spot. And I'm not a huge fan of A.J. Dillon, honestly. Super painful, folks. That was a very large mistake. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be going with Ronald Jones if he's still available. Because he's the only one who's going to get legitimate touches and going to be a part of the offense. And you never know with Fournette, too, what could happen there as well. I mean, Sonny Michel as well. The problem with him is I don't have a single clue what the heck New England's doing, honestly. I have no idea. Ozigbo. Oh, I forgot about Ozigbo. That's an interesting player. He could be the starter there. He could be. We honestly don't know who the starter is. We won't really know until after week 1. Wow, is he still available? That's pretty incredible. You could get Rodgers this late. Stafford, Newton. Wow. If I traded, I would have Zach Ertz and Carson Wentz. How about that, huh? If I would have done instead of Russell Wilson, when I had the opportunity to draft Russell Wilson, I had the opportunity to draft Zach Ertz. I think I could even draft him when I had Sutton, and got an even better player instead of Wilson. So that's one of the question marks. When you draft the quarterback in that round, is it really honestly too early? You know. Oh, and that's really unfortunate because now I actually don't have a player to draft. He literally he just took him. That's unfortunate. Like I don't even have a fourth running back I can take. Wow, does that suck? That really, really sucks. Um, Holy cow, does that suck? I mean, he's pretty much the only guy worth taking at all. Lions signed him to a contract. Ooh, that's Karen Johnson from Detroit, which is actually a really good signing by Detroit to make sure they have a guy. Well, I don't think I can pass up on. Hold on. Does this guy have a backup quarterback? He does not have a tight end. Okay. So that was really important to look at. Drafting Gronk. He took Noah Fant over Gronk. Yeah, probably. He went with two tight ends. That's so funny. He's hoping one of them hits. I understand the situation he was in and why he did that, but um, I almost made that mistake. That would have been terrible. Okay, so I need another tight end, running back, two wide receivers, two defenses. Okay. Yeah, we're kind of in tricky spot here, folks. And you wonder why did I go with Carson Wentz here? Well, to be honest, folks, he's being vastly undervalued here. And at that point, it's not a bad thing to have a backup quarterback. It is the one position you cannot afford to be stuck with a really, really bad one. And so, yes, I probably miss out on somebody. But at this point, there's really not so much that I'm worried about. You know, okay, maybe I was out on Latavius Murray, for instance. Like, let's say I drafted him here, or a Damian Harris. Um, why are these teams like so enamored with tight ends? Like tight end, you need one tight end, folks. This is not a tight end league. You know, I might actually add him just because I need depth, like him or just an Olsen, just to make sure, you know, because Gronk is a big injury risk. But let's be honest, folks. Gronk could be the number one tight end in football this year. Absolutely, with all the depth they have, he could easily have 10 touchdowns, no doubt. I guarantee you, a lot of people are scared, are as scared to not draft him as they are to draft him. And it's fine to draft him as long as you're okay with getting somebody else, making sure you're safe. He's an interesting play. player. Interesting player. Interesting player. So that's really, really annoying. Like, this shenanigans person is pretty much the worst team. He's got 5 running backs. He literally just drafted another running back. When he doesn't have a starting quarterback on his roster, he just drafted Latavius Murray, a 5th running back who has no business being a part of this team. I mean, he literally has no business being a part of this team. He does. It's not like you drafted the handcuff for him. He literally is the worst team I've ever seen constructed. I mean, this team is going to do horrible. 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 It's one of the worst teams I've ever seen. His last 2 picks, he basically stole that guy away from me instead of taking a quarterback. All he had to do was take a freaking quarterback and he'd have a decent team. Now his team's horrible and the quarterbacks that he's going to be looking at are freaking horrendous. Oh my god. Like, this is what you don't do. What are you going to do? You're going to start Cam Newton and Derek Carr, buddy? Good luck with that. Good luck with that, bro. Good luck with that. In a 6-point quarterback league. Good luck with that. Oh, you are a donkey, bro. You're going to get killed. You literally need to get lucky, like, every week. Oh. People like that. Like, he's literally going to drop Latavius Murray within, like, the first 2 weeks of the season because he's going to have to. You don't need 5 running backs in a PPR league, you idiot. What a moron. You might as well have drafted Devontae Freeman because you're going to have to drop him. You dumbass. All he did was annoy me because he basically left me with, like, a worse situation there. But, I mean, heck, Sony Michel's technically a better player than him. So, like, I don't understand it, man. Some people are just really not very bright. Like, you're really going to take Blake Jarwin? Eric Ebron? Like, who are these people taking? What are you, auto-drafting? This is horrendous. Bro, what are you guys doing? Literally 4 straight tight ends just got taken. What are you guys doing? My goodness gracious. And not good ones either. What are they doing? I mean, these are backup tight ends. These are generally waiver players. Like, I'm not even kidding. They're generally on the waiver wire. They don't even go drafted because they're not good enough to be drafted. Like, there's no point in drafting them. You might as well, like, there's literally going to be just as good of guys on the way. Like, this guy is going to go undrafted, and I bet you he's going to have the exact same stats as all 4 of these guys. Like, what are people doing? Like, they are so bad. I mean, I get it. You get to the point, you're like, I got to fill out the roster. I got to fill out his bench spot. Maybe I should get a backup tight end. It's like, wait, what? What are you doing? It's like the 13th round. Like, I understand getting a backup quarterback if he's, like, really, really good. But my goodness gracious, some of these people are just really dumb. I mean, these picks are horrendous. This last round of picks have been so bad. Like, what are they doing? I baffles me, bro. Baffles me. That is. Guys, you do know there's some really good receivers still on the board, and this is the PPR league. Okay. Yeah, I'm taking Jared Judy if he's somehow on the board for me, folks. I don't know how he would still be on the board for me. I think that would have to be insane to leave that pick for me. Same with a John Brown and a Sonny Michel. They should not be on the board for me. Tua? Las Vegas. Riva, Las Vegas. Tyler Eifert. Scott Samuel, Irv Smith Jr. He actually might have a pretty decent year. He's kind of a guy to keep a lookout on the waivers in the the coming weeks because we'll have to see kind of the production that he can kind of do as far as the snaps that he's getting. We're not really sure kind of what to expect from him. That is really annoying though. Like that's really annoying. You're really gonna take him like 4 picks in front of me, you jerk. You motherfucker, man. These guys are just annoying me, dude. Alright, I gotta get. And there's still a lot of bench players to get. Like, Jesus. I feel like Sonny Michel is probably the best player on the board. I mean, let's go running backs. Bomb, third stringer. He might actually be the starter. Like, I'm not even kidding. He might end up being the starter in the end. Um, oh, okay. So I go with Sony Michelle. Joe Burrow. Okay. All right, that's an interesting pick. Considering the quarterbacks that are on the board. But okay. Honestly, San Francisco's defense could be the pick here. The fact that nobody's taken a defense is actually a little bit shocking for a league like this. Um, but considering I'm only going to be drafting 2 rookie receivers, a tight end, a kicker, and then a second defense, I actually could theoretically draft my defense here. Theoretically, and it not hurt me really, assuming that these people aren't smart enough to draft some of my rookies that I want. Just trying to think if there's anybody else that really stands out that I might want. Nobody that I like have to have. I would say Greg Olson here could be a solid safe play. Right. Running backs, there just isn't anything. So if we go with the #1 defense, it's not a bad. How much you want to bet 2 defenses get taken this round? And then I'll grab Denver's defense with the last pick. Let's see. So we got, or the second to last pick, I'll grab Denver's defense. The kicker's the last pick. 2 receivers. Backup tight end. Okay, so the next pick is Greg Olson. Or who else? It's a safe pick. I mean, Kyle Rudolph's probably a decent enough safe pick to have. I do like Gesicki, actually. I think he's going to have a decent enough year. He might actually be a better play than a Greg Olson. Don't like Jimmy Graham. A.J. Howard's not going to get enough snaps. For Smith, Witten, Watson. feel like it could be Gasaki's year to shine. It could be his year to shine. That is the question. I mean, there's literally nothing standing in front of him. They don't have a lot of weapons. Quarterback play should be better this year. And I wouldn't be surprised even if Tua relies on him as well. The question is, he's just a better player, and they haven't had a receiving tight end ever. You know, Wilson does like to throw to his tight ends, and so that's where we're gonna be leading. Unfortunately, he just got drafted. Are you freaking kidding me, dude? You just drafted Gesicki again. This is the third time this guy's drafted my player. Are you freaking kidding me, you son of a... And your team is so bad, too! How did you draft my players and your team is so bad? Holy cow, he drafted 3 of my players and the rest of his team is just so bad. Oh my god. That is so annoying. Oh. It's the kind of annoyance that you just like, ugh. Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, God bless, bro. Yeah, I almost wonder if I should get one of my handcuffs like an AJ Dillon. Because I didn't obviously get Kareem Hunt. Ugh. Tough spot. Tough spot. Okay, so I'm probably in trouble if I don't draft Pittman. Or, dang it. Looks like I probably... I mean, I didn't expect Michael Pittman to get drafted there. That is... I mean, Slab God's been annoying me all day. Oh my god, dude. This guy made so many bad picks. And then you take Michael Pittman? Really, bro? Like, you actually make a decent pick in round 13? If you're making like 8 horrible picks throughout the draft? Like, what? What is going on here, folks? Pittsburgh's D is going to be beast, but they got a problem. They have to go against Cleveland and the Ravens. Real. That's going to be a problem. Alright, I gotta hope I can get Greg Olsen. I'm gonna be in trouble. If Gronk gets hurt, he would be in trouble. And I'll be honest, I don't love this team as much as I was hoping, because some of these later round picks have unfortunately not fallen the way I was hoping. We got a little bit screwed by a few things. Picks getting taken a few picks ahead of us really just kind of hurt us on last few rounds. Unfortunately, and just like this last round here, like him getting taken, that just it really irks me. Him both getting taken in that same round after I took Lindsey. It's like, really? Like all that, and Ronald Jones, like all that, like right in front of me, like. And that shenanigans doing it, like, he did not need it. That was his 5th running back. Like, what a freaking idiot. Like, that kind of crap just drives me crazy. Like, dude, what are you doing, bro? Actively, like, trying to lose and shit. It's like, what are you doing, man? Hi, puppy. What's up, Luna? Yeah, this draft has not gone as good as I was hoping. Nope. Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Ugh. Shenanigans. Finally got his starting quarterback. Jared Goff is his starting quarterback. Good luck with that, buddy. I like Goff, but not to be my starter. Hopefully to be my backup. If that. Okay. So. Looking at a few things. Does this guy have two tight ends? He's got Fenton Hawkinson. Okay, so he's not going with them. So I can go with Claypool here, probably. Might as well go with Claypool here, I feel like. Is there anybody else I'm missing? Because I'm not going to have another chance if I have to draft him. This is an interesting one. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. We're going to take Chase Claypool, Greg Olsen, and Robbie Anderson. Those are going to be our picks. And you're wondering, wait, Robbie Anderson? What? Yeah, he's their starter over it. He's their number one receiver in Carolina, folks. I like DJ Moore, but he's technically their number one. They paid him a lot of money. So that could be the pick. It could be the pick. Okay, Denver's defense, Greg Olsen, extra wide receiver, kicker. Honestly, normally I tell you not to take a kicker till the last round. He might be worthy of a pick earlier. And it's my turn right now. He will not make it to my pick in the next round. I'll tell you that right now. He will not. Question is, will Greg Olsen? Probably not either. This is tough, folks. Can't believe I'm going to do this, but I am actually going to go kicker. And the reason? He's just that much better than everybody else. I'm not even kidding. And it's not about him being... I mean, he's not technically better. Brandon Ayuk could have been a really nice pick, actually. And you wonder, why did you just take a kicker? You're supposed to take him in the last round. Because the difference between him and 100 and... It's about 50 points, folks. And for kicking, that's a lot. Between him and the average kicker, it's about 50 points. And he's going to put up a lot here, folks. I'm sorry. He's just going to. And you're guaranteed consistent production there. That's pretty important. And you notice they just took the next kicker, right? And we're at a point where these are high risk. I mean, these are nothing. And look, I mean, the kickers are going to get taken. They're going to get taken right here. I forced their hand. I forced everybody's hand by taking that kick. And I feel like if I go, I just feel like he's still going to be there. I really do. I really feel like he's still going to be there. And that's the only reason I made that decision. And it's the risk I had to take. Right? And so now we're looking at so does defense. I feel like Denver's defense is the next pick, and then it's so we got Denver's defense, Greg Olson, last pick of the draft. That's what we're gonna do. I'll decide on that last pick, depending upon who's gonna be available. But that's the play. Right, so I'm rolling with San Francisco, Denver's defense. That's going to be Russell Wilson and Carson Wentz. Would he be Kupp, Sutton, Landry, Chase Claypool? And we'll have another guy as well. Give me Field. Jen Rager. Yeah, I mean, now's the time to take these rookies, guys. Throw a freaking dart at the board. You hit, like a Brandon Ayuk, for instance. Oof, when I think he's going to hit, by the way, folks. He's a really good fit for what they want to do. I like LaVisca, but not in a redraft format. Long term, they'll figure out how to use him, hopefully. He's talented with the ball in his hands. Alright, do any of these have multiple... This guy has multiple tight ends. Ertz. This guy does not. But he also doesn't have a kicker and a defense. So he can't. He has to go with a kicker and a defense. That's what he's looking at actually right now. No, Shenanigans is looking at that. Higbee, and he also needs a kicker and a defense. And he needs a kicker, and he's got Hurst and Andrews. Okay. So, nobody should go with my tight end. So that actually was the right play by me. To go with that kicker. Get the best kicker by far. What? He's not even on a roster. Okay. Very interesting. Kind of weird, but okay. Has he taken a defense? He has 2 defenses. So I don't have to worry about that guy taking Denver's defense. So it's really just these two that could potentially take Denver's defense. That would suck. That's pretty much the only thing that kind of screw this roster up. And you knew he was going defense. And that was very, very close to being Denver's defense. I almost guarantee he was very, very much considering Denver's defense. Considering who else is on the board, I guarantee he was very much considering Denver's defense. Wow. I still don't know how they're on the board. I got me, bro. Zeke can destroy. He's got a defense. He's going kicker. He's going kicker. I bet he goes kicker here. Or he's going kicker, bench player. Mother! Are you kidding me? He literally just drafted our guy? What? What? In the 15th round? What? What? Did that just happen? Are you kidding me? Wow. Wow, bro. Wow. Bro. How? Young Hoko. Young Coco. Young Go. Young Go. I honestly don't know how to pronounce. How do you pronounce that? Young Ho Ko Ku Kudeta? I don't know. Super weird though. Ugh. Okay. Question is, what are we gonna do for our last pick of the draft? Who is worthy of that pick? Should I go with 3 quarterbacks and pick up Lockie? He was gonna be our backup, honestly. The reason we didn't go with him, though... Where are you? Stay fence. He went 2... This guy drafted 2 kickers! He drafted 2 kickers! Are you serious? Bro, you only need 1, man! You only need 1 kicker, bro! Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Why would you drop 2 kickers, bro? That's so dumb. Oh, please that end. Okay, good. Alrighty. So, we gotta get another player. Let's look at receivers. Fitzy's still on the board? Snap. If he's on the board, we'll take him. Sammy Watkins, Renfro should have an improved year. Chris Sandwich is an interesting player for that offense. Hasn't been impressive. He's not been impressive. Really? Alton Tates. Brishad Perriman. He might actually be their starter. Sadly enough. Antonio Brown. Where's Randall Cobb? Okay. Yeah, these guys all kind of aren't very good. You'd say maybe him, but like he's technically the 3rd receiver. Okay, like 40% of stats. That's probably about right. I feel like you'd rather have Kenny Stills if anybody on that in that kind of area. Yeah, I mean at this point these are not really very good players. Unfortunately. Right, Connor? Ugh. I mean, getting Fitzy would be great. That would be fantastic, actually. And had I known that he was available, I probably would have drafted him over Denver's defense. No offense to Denver's defense, but I probably would have. I'd consider A.J. Dillon. So at least get the handcuff for one of my guys. Let's see. Frank Gore's interesting. He could be an interesting pick. I hadn't really thought about him too much about that, but that could be an interesting pick, right? I mean, yeah, I just felt like they were going to get taken. As much as I would have liked to have drafted Larry, at this point in his career, it's really tough to say how much production he's honestly going to have on the field. Um, real world production, he'll be a much better receiver than he is in fantasy. I feel like, honestly, it may not be the worst thing to go with like a Sammy Watkins, even. Although they're projecting way too many points for him, he's not going to get close to those numbers. Fortunately, yeah, not much to look at here. Down to Piddlywinks, unfortunately. I would even consider him if he could actually stay healthy, because he would be the number 3 guy. Fortunately, ain't much. Yep. Unfortunately, you're down this far pretty bad. My boy KJ. He is unfortunately not going to be healthy to start the season. Nor do I think he's going to actually have good enough fantasy production to be worthy of a draft pick. That sucks. It looks like he was drafted. Wait. Oh, no, he wasn't. Okay. Well, he's still on the board. We'll be ready before week 7. Yeah. There just ain't much to look at, man. It's like, it's all pretty bad at this point. Most of these players are just bench warmers, really. Carlos Hyde, honestly, he's actually been doing decent for them. But they just have too much competition over there. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I would like to get Larry Fitzgerald, though. I feel like he would be at least a safe play for us. Kind of fill out that wide receiver position. Uh, but for now, we're just going to do kind of a breakdown, right? And kind of why kind of things happen the way they did, right? We went with Nick Chubb, and we had a few choices and choice different options, but really I think this was a pretty solid combination with the Aaron Jones Nick Chubb choice. We could have gone a few different directions with like an Eckler, Drake, James Conner, and obviously some of the stud receivers. But that would have really limited us on the return trip, right? As I say, I think teams are starting to grab their second defense. It looks like right now. Uh, and if they hadn't grabbed their kicker, let's see what you got. So this guy could just grab anybody. This guy needs a kicker. This guy needs a kicker. This guy needs a kicker. Okay, cool. So they all need a kicker except for you. So you're the only guy who could potentially take my guy. Which, what are the odds that you actually drafted him? Probably pretty low. Okay, cool. He didn't draft him.
Oh my god, he actually drafted the only player that I wanted. Are you kidding me? The only guy. He was the only guy who needed a player. And he took him. Unfreaking believable. Wow.
Could have just had him or him as my backup. And I would have had a much better player than a Larry Fitzgerald. Than nobody. That stinks, man. Do you go with a Sammy Watkins who's just absolute trash when it comes to staying healthy? Like, ugh. I mean, it's literally what you don't want from a bench player. You want him to be available in case you actually need him. um, like, it's gross, bro. I literally have nothing to look at. Like, I've been looking at this for a while, and there's nobody worth drafting. Like, I'm not kidding. There is nobody worth drafting. I should have drafted one of these guys a little bit earlier. But it went so long where it didn't matter. Like, maybe a Brandon Ayuk. But jeez, dude, to not get anybody. There's really no rookie worth getting. It's like whoever I draft, I'm basically going to be dropping. Within the first week of the season, I'm going to be dropping. It's more just a matter of I feel like the handcuff is probably the play or Frank Gore. If you actually want to go for like somebody who's not just like a handcuff. Because like the only reason to take him is one reason and one reason alone. The handcuffs to my guy. Alright, these two guys will be pointless. He's an interesting pick. Sammy Watkins. Just in case he gets hurt. Alright. Yeah, it's just a safer play, folks. So we'll just do a quick breakdown. I'm not going to go into as great a depth as I have for some of my other ones. But, oops. So we got first round here, obviously, we went that running back. We know why, obviously. Looking back here,
Just the available running backs we would have had to choose from would have been David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, and Leonard Fournette. And like, don't get me wrong, none of them are bad running backs. All of them, we don't know how much production he's actually going to get. Same here, he's splitting carries with Philip Lindsay, who's actually a better running back, but he'll probably get more of the goal line touches. What are you thinking? I don't know. And with the David Johnson here, that makes his production last year was absolutely insanely horrible. So that's why it makes it really difficult, right? I feel like you'd rather have wide receiver, and feel good about that, right? Is there much difference between ODB, Cooper Kupp, than, for instance, Julio, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins? Because that's essentially what you're trading off, right? But there's a pretty big difference. I think there's a much bigger gap in the running back gap than there is in the wide receiver gap, and especially when it comes to just like feeling okay about your pick and not being healthy and stuff. This was the first question mark pick, the Russell Wilson, and I understand obviously a bunch of quarterbacks did go here, and that is the range where you'd want your quarterback to probably go. But for instance, if I take a T.Y. Hilton here, if I take I guess it would have been T.Y. would have been really the best play, or a Darren Waller, for instance. There, or and then here, see, I got a Jarvis Landry here, right? But then you miss out on all the quarterbacks, right? And so that's kind of where the difference lies. And then this Philip Lindsay pick was going to be the pick. It's just that, and that's what makes it tough. Is right here is probably, instead of Jarvis Landry, where I needed to probably go with one of the other running backs. I mean, I just didn't expect Zach Moss, Kerryon Johnson, Marlon Mack, Matt Breida, and Ronald Jones to all get taken right after me. I mean, that's crazy to me. I really did not expect that, and that really kind of hurt because this is where I was expecting to go with a running back instead of Rob, and then I would have gone here instead of Wentz, who wasn't like a big need or anything like that. You got Latavius Murray, for instance. AP. Is there honestly much difference between a Latavius Murray and an AJ Dillon? Because they're basically just handcuffs. You're not gonna start Latavius Murray in any week unless you have to. He's only startable if there's no Alvin Kamara. And so why would you draft him in round 10 when you have multitude of players that are still available? You'd think, right? You would think. But there was a lot of delicateness going on. It was really annoying because I needed some of these guys later, and they really kind of hurt that value factor. Now, this was an interesting one here, right? Because I didn't have to go with it, but I just felt like the value was too good there, and really only missed out on him, and Mike Williams, for instance, Deshaun Jackson. Really, overall, interesting. Anyway, like, wait, what? That's where I didn't even realize he was still on the board. Had I realized that, I probably would have gone with Ayuk to pair with Claypool. And then I would have had Ayuk there. But I was able to get the best kicker by far, so that is an advantage, honestly, going into each week, having that advantage each week. So like the whole overall was I feel like a pretty solid draft. Definitely could have been better. We did get a little bit unlucky in a couple situations, which kind of hurt our overall
value here late. We were hoping to get a couple things to kind of fall to us, but it just doesn't happen. And that's kind of the gamble you have to play, right? You have to, at times, take that risk. It is a little bit harder, I would say, to draft at around the back end of a draft. It is generally the hardest area to get the highest quality team, in my opinion. And doing the back-to-back picks like that, and then not picking for a very long time, it's very difficult to get balanced players, because then you're getting two players at a similar kind of point, and then you're missing out on a big group of players, which is always a little bit more unfortunate, which is kind of how it goes. But I feel like we got a pretty good team here today, and really excited about hopefully the season goes for this team, and hopefully for you guys. This was a little bit of a help to you to get you guys ready for your drafts and get you ready for the NFL season. So thanks for stopping in with us at NFL Kings. And be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Thanks for stopping in with us today.